Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I've got no tan lines.
And I am Sun-Made Chain.
Welcome to episode 313, Fully Loaded, in your house.
Will this be a show where we wish we were fully loaded as we go through it?
We wish. You wish. I'm already there.
This is the 23rd In Your House and inaugural Fully Loaded, produced by WWF. It would take place on July 26th, 1998, from the Sealand Arena in Fresno, California, with an attendance of 9,855 people.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's California.
Hey.
They don't care about wrestling.
It's in your house.
Yeah, it's a good number for in here. I mean, you know. The buy rate was 305,000.
Not bad.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Austin era. People would tune in to watch him fart.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
Sometimes they did. I mean, not necessarily fart. I guess he drank a lot of beer, so he burped.
Yeah. He was gaseous.
But we are in California.
Yeah, we are.
Fresno, to be exact. So, Shane, did you do what you do?
I did. I took full advantage and whatnot of the fully loaded in your house namesake. So at my house, I got myself fully loaded, and I thought, what the hell should I make? I did my normal research of what is Fresno known for, and it turns out Fresno is kind of like the raisin capital of the world. They get a shit ton of our raisins come from California, specifically in the Fresno area.
Not the Fresno pepper.
I'm sure Fresno chilies are probably from there.
I don't know. I'm just thinking. I am impressed that this is something you came up with.
I'm not the only one. There's others out there, because I looked up, when I was trying to find out if these would even go together, then I discovered that there's more that went along, so I kind of picked and chose and took this and that from others. But it all started with the raisin. It started with the raisin, and then I made myself a grilled cheese sandwich. And I started thinking, I know they make this raisin bread. I wonder if there could be a raisin bread or I almost said French toast, grilled cheese. And then I started looking around, and I saw somebody, I know apples and cheddar cheese go really well together. Somebody had added onions to one of theirs, so I decided to do some red onions and thinly slice those and add that to it. Somebody else had talked about kicking up the heat a little bit with some crushed red pepper. So all in all, in my fully loaded state, we came up with a grilled cheese on cinnamon raisin toast, which is, in this case, is the Sun-Made brand, just like your raisins you ate when you were a kid, with some thinly sliced Granny Smith apples, because Granny Smith apples are also from the California area. That's one of the main four that they specialize in out there. Added some shaved red onion, a little bit of crushed red pepper, buttered it, grilled it. You guys have already eaten almost all of yours, so I'm assuming that means it's good.
It's not bad.
We'll see. I haven't taken a bite yet, so while I'm doing this, we'll see how good it is. Ready, set, 1, 2, 3, go. It's a little messy.
Definitely a good crunch.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Apple.
I did expect it to possibly be a little bit sweeter.
Yep. Oh, maybe it's the doneness of the bread. Maybe
I kind of wonder if that's what it is.
It may have knocked out some of the cinnamon to it. The sharp cheese may be cutting through on the cinnamon as well, because it's masking a lot of the apple flavor. I think it would be good with like prosciutto or some sort of salty hammy something on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That wouldn't hurt.
I saw one recipe for a Monte Cristo on that. the cinnamon raisin bread. I almost did that, but
You're like, what a mess.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, like a Monte Cristo or a French toast with this bread would just be absolutely delicious.
Yeah. French toast. I saw recipes for French toast bread pudding. There's a shit ton of recipes if you go to the Sunmade website. But for a first time apple grilled cheese with onion and a little bit of crushed red, I ain't mad about it. There's more in there. I might make another one.
Yeah, it was definitely by no means offensive. It was easy to eat. Everything like nothing clashed. It was like, oh, this is all works.
Like I totally say that I expected it to be sweeter, but like that's just an expectation thing more than a I didn't like it thing.
No, if the bread was too sweet, it would have been a little weird.
Yeah. I'm curious the different brands because I mean I know there's Pepperidge Farm has theirs. There's a Thomas brand that's been around forever. I saw one that was like Dave's Organic Ragin' Raisin or something like that.
I think you did the right thing. You got the red bag to match the red box that we all know so well.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Agreed. And, there's leftover Granny Smith apples to go with it, so that just adds to the sweetness and the tanginess.
Love a good apple.
Yeah.
It's always a good snack.
Yeah, I never buy green apples, but I should. They're great.
They're the best ones for a caramel apple.
Oh, yeah.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as Fully Loaded, the invasion of Normandy would be seen this weekend in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
I assume you both saw it in the theater.
I did.
I did.
I didn't see it in the theater. I was a little young, I guess. Plus, it was like rated R. If I saw it would have been like my grandma probably would have been the one to take me. But my dad watched war movies like crazy. So when this came out on like video, it was played in the house constantly for. I'm sure it was rented or whatever, but we definitely had the DVD and it was played loudly in surround sound on like Saturday afternoons for probably a couple months.
THX.
Yeah, I actually had to wait till when it came out again after it won the Academy Award.
Oh yeah, they put it back in the
theater. And they put it back in the theaters because I wasn't 18 until the next year.
Best director, but not best picture, unfortunately.
See what
I
got
say
plenty
that,
of awards. I think.
Personally, the movie that won was the one that I thought was the best one.
Same. I was a big fan of Shakespeare in Love.
Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, I've never seen it. I've heard that. I've heard you say that a bunch.
A lot of people say that it only won because of a Weinstein campaign that tried to push it to the top. But
I mean, he was pretty good at that. But
the movie itself, I mean, fucking Judi Dench won an Oscar for like a minute and a half worth of material that she was on the screen for, but she was phenomenal. Jeffrey Rush was phenomenal. I know we're not talking about that movie specifically, but Shakespeare in Love was great.
I mean, yeah, like you can give that one best picture, but giving best director definitely belongs to this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like yeah, it's like
that Oscar went to the right place
for sure. You got to split them up. We can't give can't give one movie all the awards. I mean, they happens every once in a while, but split it up. They don't mean.
Yeah, we already had Titanic a couple of years before.
Yeah, and like I don't think anybody cares about them that much these days. But what it does do is help whoever worked on the film get more money for their next project. So split them up. I say like don't let anybody win more than one, just so more people potentially have better chances of making their dream project.
So you have more movies that can say that they're Oscar winners.
Yeah, why not? Who cares?
The all-star cast this one has. It's been forever since I've watched it.
Yeah, it's been a good long while.
Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, Tom Sizemore, Vin Diesel, Ed Burns, Barry Pepper, Jeremy Davies, Adam Goldberg, Giovanni Ribisi, Bryan Cranston, Ted Danson, Paul Giamatti. Jesus.
Are you just going to skip over Vin Diesel?
I already said Vin Diesel.
Did you?
I skipped over Nathan Fillion, but...
Okay, I was like...
I didn't realize...
I did not hear you say Vin Diesel.
I didn't realize Nathan Fillion was in it, but I didn't know who he was at the time.
Dennis Farina. Yeah, there's an
incredible cast of white guys that everybody would recognize.
Yep. Yeah, when this one came out, I thought it was good, but it was one of those, and it was like, why do they always have to make one of these around Oscar time? I know why they do it, but...
Yeah,
the
but
fact that they always give the awards to them, it made me happy that it... I shouldn't say it made me happy, but my pick won over this one.
I mean, it's the first Spielberg, or I guess, Schindler's List is a war movie too, but not quite the same type of war movie. Same war.
Yeah, because we just had the.
But this is that opening scene.
I mean, that opening scene
it gets you best director.
Yeah,
yeah,
and best cinematography,
yeah,
and best sound, and best editing. Like,
yeah.
like all the technical awards are won in that first 25 minutes of the movie.
You could argue that no one's made a award segment of a film that's gotten anywhere close to as effective as that one.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, if you think about it, once that scene is over, they literally are just like, "All right, we're gonna walk through the countryside."
But at that point, you're with them,
and hopefully we can find this one guy. Yeah. But yeah, you are.
You're with them because you just went through hell.
You're attached to all the characters, and to me, it's actually funny that it's Matt Damon playing Private Ryan, because it's just such a big name guy for a role that literally does nothing in the movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's if I could see it taking people out of it, where it's if it was just a guy that hasn't worked much or you've never seen before, it's doesn't really need to. It doesn't need to be him. And he's and this is also maybe the height of Matt Damon's fame too.
Yeah, because I want to say it was the year before, or possibly 2 years before, that he had won the Oscar for Good Will Hunting.
I think this was the first time I saw Barry Pepper, and I love Barry Pepper now. Anything he's not the most...
Barry Pepper, when I see him, I always get him confused with Bill S. Preston from Bill and Ted. Him and Alex Winter have that same... They have a very similar look to them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. It's I know who Barry Pepper is. I didn't know the name, but I know the face.
I mean, at this point, he had been in...
He's about to be in The Green Mile and Battlefield Earth after the 99 and 2000.
I guess this is kind of his kickstarting his career role. Yeah, but he's then in 61, a few years later as Roger Maris, and I think that's when he becomes more of a leading man type.
Yep.
But he basically kind of stays as the supporting guy for most of his career. But anytime he shows up in something, I go, "Hey, I like that guy."
Yeah, you gotta have those guys. It's like anytime Ed Harris shows up, I'm yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's he's you're he's gonna understand the assignment and he's gonna put in a wonderful performance, and he never needs to be the star.
Nope, but he's gonna make me want to come back and watch it again.
Yeah. Unless it's Milk Money.
True Grit, he was the bad guy in True Grit.
Oh yeah.
As Lucky Ned Pepper, which is kind of funny since that's his last name.
We'll just keep your last name. It sounds period appropriate.
But this movie also led to possibly one of my favorite TV show / miniseries of all times in Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers is also watched in my house a lot, but I have never sat down and watched it all the way through.
It's so good.
Soon one of these days I'll hit that one, and then the Pacific as well. You gotta even
Pacific's not as good.
I've always heard that, but I'm sure it's still good.
But it's still good.
Yeah.
But it's not as good.
But I
think a lot of it is because in Band of Brothers, it's because you
are informed by
you have all of these guys and you're going through the entire story with them. In the Pacific, it's a little bit more spread out. It is kind of the same people, but it's different theaters of war, basically.
Okay. That's funny because that's kind of how Thin Red Line is too, and that's one of the few movies that's a World War II Pacific movie. But that's also a Terrence Malick movie, so it's a whole nother monster.
Well, enough about Saving Private Ryan. Let's get to Fully Loaded.
Do it.
We open on Jerry the King Lawler invading Sable's dressing room.
Naughty boy.
And he wants to discuss the bikini contest later in the evening, with Sable saying a picture is worth 1,000 words. How about a preview? As she proceeds behind a backlit changing screen and removes her top, asking the king if he wants a peek, which Jerry, of course, accepts and begins to hyperventilate before exiting the room, cackling like a maniac.
That's our king.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he basically does his whole gimmick outside of being a dickhead is being a horny 14-year-old boy on commentary.
At least he hasn't discovered what puppies are yet.
Oh man, that's gonna get annoying. I forget about, like, it was funny as a kid, but as an adult, I'm probably just gonna be like, stop yelling puppies.
Yep. I was a 21-year-old kid, and I was saying
shut the fuck
same
up.
thing.
Yeah.
Enough with the fucking puppies already.
WWF Attitude video plays, followed by a package about questions, with different ones being asked to The Undertaker. Where the answers lie in his tortured soul. While the questions are asked, we see highlights of the Dead Man, Stone Cold, the Big Red Machine, Foley and Vince. Is he in cahoots with Kane? Does blood run thicker than water? Can Austin survive the reunion of brothers? Will Mankind be adopted or left abandoned? Will McMahon become the patriarch of the family? Does Taker's contempt for the Big Red Machine still poison his soul? Will Stone Cold and Undertaker temper their animosity and stand side by side as champions? Will Vince stomach the ungodly union of renegades, both hell-bent on destroying the foundation of the Empire? Questions. Tonight, the questions will be answered, but will the answers become questions?
I mean, this is the greatest example that we've had in out of all the episodes that we've watched. This intro, people are like, wrestling is like a soap opera with staged fights or whatever, and it's like it absolutely 110% is right here. Yeah. This is like this is the most soap. It's like, oh, everybody's interconnected. There's 4 people and an evil man and
a brother back from the dead that's trying to rule the world.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Questions.
Yeah, I know what I was like. I think we've been skating along I think we've been working up the hill of the Russo effect, and now we're just rolling down that hill, maybe.
Pyro goes off as we go live to the arena, with Jim Ross welcoming us to the show, joined by Lawler for commentary. And we go straight to our first match, Val Venis versus Double J Jeff Jarrett, with Tennessee Lee and Southern Justice of Dennis Knight and Marc Cantebury. And Venis takes the mic to greet the ladies before saying, California, here I come, and begins to pull down the front of his trunks.
Uh-oh.
Only for Lee to interrupt to introduce his charge, calling Double J the world's greatest lover.
Oh, God.
Jarrett comes out with Southern Justice, which the ref makes them leave to the back once they get to the ringside, when Kaientai appears, but Tim White ejects them as well, only for Yamaguchi-san to sneak his way to the announce table to join commentary. And the match gets going with Val being taken down by Double J, who then walks on him and struts around the ring. But Venis responds with strikes, drop toe holds, and hip swivels. And Val runs the ropes and goes for a crossbody, only for Jarrett to duck and charge right into a hot shot onto the ropes for a 2 count. Multiple Lee lifts and side Russian leg sweeps for a near fall by Venis, as Yamaguchi-san says they're going to show Val some Kaientai style the next night on Raw.
He is bad on commentary.
So the story behind all that is that Yamaguchi-san had put a hit out on Venis after his wife was disrespected on that last Raw that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
But the attack on Val upset the wife even more, and she did the unthinkable, filming The Land of the Rising Venus with Val.
Jesus, this guy's a face.
Yes.
And Yamaguchi-san was about to punish her with a public paddling when Venis would make the save and sweeping her off her feet.
Yeah, save that for the cameras.
Now back to the action. Val telegraphs a back body drop, so Double J kicks him away, followed by a powerbomb attempt, which Venis counters into that backdrop, only for Jarrett to turn it into a sunset flip that Val stays up and punches down.
Not before a little grinding.
Venis then whips Double J to the rope and again telegraphs his move, with Jarrett delivering the powerbomb this time, before clotheslining his opponent to the floor, where Lee gets a shot in, followed by a baseball slide by Double J. Now back in the ring, the two trade chops when Val catches Jarrett charging in. He goes for a suplex, but Double J counters into a DDT, before locking on a sleeper, which Venis escapes and applies one of his own, only for Double J to respond with a back suplex. Jarrett goes for another suplex, but Val floats over and nails a belly-to-belly suplex, strikes, a Manhattan drop, and a clothesline. Venis keeps up the attack with a bridging fisherman suplex for a 2 count, but he then runs into a boot in the corner, allowing Jarrett to come off the top with a flying crossbody for an ear fall. Double J's whip is reversed, with Val catching Jarrett with a power slam before looking to go to the top, only for Double J to meet him on the apron, where Venis drops down to deliver a hot shot, sending Jarrett stumbling into the
Ref bump.
knocking him down. Tennessee Lee then seizes the opportunity to knock Val off the top rope, crotching the big Valboski, followed by Double J hitting a superplex. And Jarrett looks to apply the figure 4, but Val cradles him up for a 2 count, before Lee jumps on the apron to complain to the ref. So Venis runs his opponent right into his manager, followed by an Okada roll for the pin and the win.
I mean, this solidly worked.
Mm-hmm. Post-match, Yamaguchi-san says Val should savor his victory, because after tomorrow night, he will never be the same. Venis then grabs a mic to make fun of Yamaguchi-san's size, in more ways than one, that he will never measure up to the big Valboski, and even the missus agrees. JR then sends us to a view of the Hart family home in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Wonder what's going to happen there.
I'm intrigued.
We get our second match. D'Lo Brown with the Godfather versus X-Pac with Chyna.
Is this the first time he's been referred to as the Godfather?
They've mentioned he has a nickname, but
that is a nickname, but it's the first time that he's like officially the Godfather.
Yeah.
He's no longer comma.
Comma, yeah.
We won't miss you, comma.
He's a little boring. And hey, we're
He's
sleeping
more of a comma than an exclamation point.
We're having bikini contests. We're sleeping with other guys' wives. We might as well bring a pimp into it.
That's right.
He's not quite a pimp yet.
No, but we all know where it's going. He's got the hat.
He does have the hat.
He hasn't got the robe yet, I don't think.
No. I think he's easing on into the...
There's no train yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no train, but he started the smokestack.
Yeah, he's easing into his comfortable position on Sunday Night Heat.
Yes.
So we see a clip of Brown winning the European title this past Monday, when the ref in Chyna were distracted by Mark Henry, allowing The Rock to nail a rock bottom to Triple H, with D'Lo then crawling over to make the cover for the pin. And so Brown is the new champion, but he refused to give Kid a title shot.
Yeah.
This is non-title.
Gotta earn it.
So the match gets going with back and forth action with headlocks, shoulder blocks, arm drags, spin kicks, and hip tosses. X-Pac would miss a Bronco Buster, so D'Lo starts wearing his opponent down with a chin lock.
And we're getting D'Lo sucks chance, and I'm a little disappointed because I love to see D'Lo feeling himself, and he knows this is a big shot, and he's working hard.
Get that neck is swinging.
Yeah, and that neck is lubed up.
I was going to say, you know what I have to say to that?
Still don't know how he does it.
I just shook my head for all you
Yeah.
non-podcast watchers,
Yes.
which
For
there are
those
none
of you that
of.
don't have the video feed.
The Kid escapes the chin lock, so Brown begins whipping X-Pac from corner to corner and delivering strikes, when the Kid avoids a charge in and goes for a spinning heel kick, only for D'Lo to duck and nail a body slam. Brown then hits a second rope elbow drop and goes to the chin lock again, with X-Pac firing up with a jawbreaker, but D'Lo responds with a clothesline before going to the top for a moonsault, only for the Kid to move in time, rallying with a series of punches and kicks and landing a heel kick and a Bronco Buster. Now the Godfather climbs to the apron, which brings Chyna up as well, with the ref being distracted by her. So when X-Pac is sent to the ropes, Godfather hits a forearm to his back, allowing Brown to deliver a sky high for the pin and the win.
I saw a horrific sign that they tried this very hard not to get on air.
Suck it, fuck it.
No, It was worse. It said Pat Patterson R'd me. I won't use the word.
Whoa.
And I was like, whoa. I think I only caught half of the sign or like 3/4 of the sign at one point. But they obviously were trying to make sure it wasn't on the screen. It's like, that is spicy.
Yeah, they had somebody with a bunch of different signs with the letters on it. It said suck it, and then they would turn the S in the back of the sign was an F. Yeah. Every time it hit the screen, that thing would be turning. So yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's 1998, guys. Mm-hmm. We didn't even have the word troll yet.
Signs are big. They want them all. They're not going to stand in the front row like they do now and tell you to put your signs down.
I mean, I could imagine it would have drove me nuts as a kid if I went to a taping, and I just had signs in my face the whole time. But I would have been younger and not like slugging beer. A bunch of my other like 20-something friends
and acting like a PG show.
No, it definitely wasn't a PG show.
Edge is watching on from the stands, and Ross begins to talk about the Mystery Man when Lawler cuts him off to talk about Sable. But JR says they have some breaking news, so they send it to the back with Kevin Kelly and Dr. Tom Pritchard in the internet room.
Ooh. I'm happy to see Dr. Tom. Always happy to see Kevin Kelly, but, Dr. Tom is a more fleeting presence.
Yep, he's as long as he's not in the ring, I'm okay with him.
He's a good worker.
He was. He's no longer there, but he's got a nice haircut.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably been responsible for some of your favorite wrestlers.
Of the Pritchards that are on TV, he's the one that I'd prefer to see, unless the other one dresses up like Brother Love.
Yeah, and that's not a gimmick that's going to work in 1998.
No, it does not.
And the last time we saw Dr. Tom was SummerSlam 96, episode 216.
Been a while.
Doing a little body donnas back then.
Yeah, now he's just training.
Just Dr. Tom.
Yeah, he's got a face for the training room.
Kelly says the Undertaker hasn't arrived yet, meaning he's hours late, guys.
Uh-oh.
But Dr. Tom says the dead man doesn't let people down.
It's true.
So we go to our third match. Faarooq and Scorpio versus Bradshaw and Terry Funk.
This wasn't on my bingo card.
Definitely not. So before the Texans make their entrance, Ross talks to them in the back, asking if they're ready to face an undefeated team. And just so you know, I looked this up. They had won like 4 matches.
But
they
a new team.
They are undefeated.
True.
They weren't lying.
House shows, right?
Some shotgun Saturday nights.
Okay, so they at least, half-ass built them up.
And the Funkster says what's on paper isn't as important as what's in your heart.
He's getting old and wistful, ready for a 4th retirement.
Terry then announces a leave of absence after this event, wanting 6 months to recover from the rough times he's had recently. And this news completely shocks Bradshaw, asking, "Why didn't you tell me before?" Funk just responded, I just need to recharge my batteries. But the big Texan leaves in disgust to the ring, staring his partner down the entire way.
Some pretty decent acting from Bradshaw, which we haven't really got to see him do anything like that. And I think that he understood the assignment and isn't getting too hammy with it. He looks like he's pissed.
Yeah, he's a little pissed. He's a little heartbroken. Apparently he wanted this long-running partnership with the Funkster.
Yeah, a couple of Texas ass beaters. I mean, he's got to at least hold the tag title for a while before he gets to get a singles run.
You could have missed out.
By the way, they were like 4-0 too. They
okay.
Like 4 times as well.
Man, I mean, we missed out on Blackjack Funk.
So Bradshaw backs Too Cold to a corner to take control with knees, shoulders, chops, and elbows, only for Scorpio to answer back with a drop kick and a hurricanrana before making a tag to the Militant, who trades strikes with the big Texan.
Speaking of funks, I am so glad that Flash is gone. We officially have Scorpio.
Yeah, they basically kicked Flash Funk to the can once Terry started using his real name because they didn't want to have two Funks.
Oh yeah, can't have two Funks.
That's a good point. Also,
unless they were because they weren't going to be a tag team. If they'd been a tag team, it would have been fun to keep them.
Yeah, but Flash Funk's also a bad name.
Yes.
Too Cold Scorpio
True.
is a long name, and I wish that they had the Too Cold here, but just call him Scorpio.
Plus, you can't have one guy that looks like a pimp being a pimp or dressing like a pimp when you've got a pimp in the making in the nation. So, the good old days.
Glad to see him not have to dance his way out to the ring.
Yes.
Faarooq's taken down by a clothesline in a corner and a shoulder tackle off the top for a 2 count by Bradshaw, bringing in Terry to hit a neck breaker. But the militant retaliates with a backbreaker for a near fall. And Faarooq sets up for the Dominator when the big Texan jumps in the ring to nail a big boot to change the momentum, followed by going to the top with Funk holding the militant. Terry gets elbowed away, allowing Faarooq to catch Bradshaw flying off with a power slam for a 2 count, before bringing Scorpio back in for knee lifts and a body slam. Too Cold then goes up top when Funk yanks on the ropes, causing Scorpio to crouch himself, with the big Texan taking advantage to deliver a back suplex and a powerbomb for a near fall.
That's not who you want to get powerbombed by.
No.
Terry returns to throw Too Cold to the floor, where Funk sends his opponent into the railing and into the crowd, followed by a springboard pump splash onto a standing Scorpio back at ringside.
Crowd's not loving this. They're a little rude.
Inside the ring, the two trade waist locks and pin attempts when Faarooq runs in to attack Terry, allowing Too Cold to go up top for a twisting splash and a diving leg drop. He makes a cover, only for Bradshaw to break it up. And the militant jumps in as well to fight with the big Texan out to the floor, while Scorpio slams Funk down before delivering a 450 splash for the pin and the win. Post-match, Bradshaw starts berating Terry for his performance, shoving him, and then turning to yell at his opponents, calling their win bullshit and daring them to return.
There's the Bradshaw I know.
And Funk tries to calm down his partner, but he's having none of it.
Terry's like, I've lost 1,000,000 times. It's okay.
And Bradshaw turns and nails Terry with a lariat, bringing Scorpio back to help, only for the big Texan to kick Too Cold out to the floor and hitting another lariat before grabbing a chair. And Faarooq now intervenes, so Bradshaw just smashes him with the steel before leaving to the back.
Damn.
With a pissed off Funk giving chase.
Yeah, I thought the match was fine, but the crowd was a bit harsh. And at least JBL's finally doing something instead of just being a steady hand.
Yeah. So this will be the last time we see Terry Funk for about 18 months.
In the WWF or in general?
It's not the last time we'll see him in the WWF, but he won't. That's not where he returns.
Next, yeah. I guess he's kind of Steamboat, where it's like he'll show up again some point, somewhere.
Yep.
But it's mostly because he can't stop wrestling, and Steamboat can take it or leave it.
Yeah. And JR's shocked at what just happened, and he thinks the big Texan was over the line. But the King says you need this attitude to be a winner. And speaking of winners, Lawler thinks Sable will win the bikini contest because of what she isn't wearing. Ooh.
Lawler.
It's pay-per-view. I mean, that would be great on television. Keep people tuned in. But at this point in time, you didn't turn on Raw and then turn it off because you weren't interested. This was like appointment viewing. It's not like today where you're like, oh, that was good. I'll watch the promo everyone said was good on YouTube the next day.
Yeah.
No, you watched it live.
Yeah, you watched it live and were... at least me, in 5th grade, it's like you're all pumped about everything that just happened, and then you got to go to sleep.
There was no streaming. There was no replay. Monday Nitro, you watched it at 7 o'clock. It got over at 10 o'clock, and then it restarted right after that. Raw, no. It was one and done. You either watched it or you didn't, unless you had a VCR to record, which I typically did if I had to work on Monday nights, because there was no way in hell that I was missing a Monday Night Raw.
Not in 1998.
No. I was renting out TVs at the time, so one of my buddies rented a big screen TV, and we'd watch Monday Night Raw at his place.
Dang, on a big TV.
Yep.
That's fun.
So we go to our fourth match. Vader versus Mark Henry.
Vader's still here, y'all.
And the two men just run and collide with each other a few times, followed by Mark going for a slam, which he gets on the second attempt, followed by an elbow drop. The Mastodon rolls out to regroup, only for Henry to stay on the attack with strikes once Vader is back in the ring.
Vader yelled a curse word when he rolled out.
Okay.
That's why I said it.
Continuing with an elbow drop and a leg drop for a 2 count. And the Mastodon reverses a whip, but he telegraphs a back body drop. So Mark goes for a sunset flip, only for Vader to stay up and butt splash down.
And I think the reason Vader yelled fuck is because he has to work with Mark Henry, who is dog shit at this point.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you guys are watching this.
And the Mastodon changes the momentum with a splash, hard shots, and avalanche attacks in a corner before a short arm clothesline. Vader then tosses Henry to the floor to keep up the attack, sending him head first into the ring steps before returning to the ring to land more strikes, a body slam, and a second rope splash for a near fall. Now Mark reverses a whip and catches the Mastodon coming off the ropes with a power slam, followed by a splash in the middle of the ring for the pin and the win.
Boo. The fans and I boo, as we all both also cheered as Vader walked out.
Yep.
Vader didn't deserve this. Mark Henry doesn't have the experience or the ability to beat Vader. This broke my heart, and obviously Vader's as well, as he yelled out a curse word, probably just realizing that he agreed to fucking stare at the lights tonight. But at least it wasn't too long, I guess.
Yeah.
It couldn't have gone on too much longer.
I think they did. I think Mark Henry did all of his offensive moves that he has.
Yeah, and I'm sure it would have been blown up in seconds if he 30 seconds more. And I love Mark Henry. Just I don't love him now.
Yeah,
We've all learned to love him.
1998 Mark Henry was not... Mark Henry, for me, didn't really get enjoyable until like 2012 or something like that. He's got a long way to go.
Yeah. When eventually it lets his personality out and everyone realizes that he is like a pretty like charming and likable guy.
Yeah.
But in ring, I don't know that he's ever been
No,
incredible.
He's still got to sleep his way to the top.
We get another shot of the Hart family house before going to Kevin Kelly and Dr. Tom. And they still haven't located the Undertaker when Kane's music hits, with Paul Bearer leading the Big Red Machine and Mankind to the ring, carrying the WWF Tag Team Championships. And just so you know how they got the belts, they had won a number 1 Contenders Rumble on a Raw before King of the Ring. But of course, Kane had other plans for that evening, so they didn't get their title shot till 2 weeks prior to this show on a Raw, when D'Lo would interfere to cost the New Age Outlaws the belts, as DX versus Nation was the main feud going on. So
Basically, anything that's not DX and the Nation is the top 4 guys in the company feuding, and then some stuff sprinkled in that people were testing out to see if anybody cares. Yeah, but they got 2 things going on right now that
you got
people
your
are
God
into.
Venus, you got your Cantebury, you got your Gold Dust Loves Jesus.
Oh God.
God Dust. I don't know what he's going for exactly, but
Yeah. Oh God, part 2.
yeah. Oh brother Rhodes, where art thou?
So Baird takes the mic, saying he knew the dead man wouldn't show up, as he doesn't want to wrestle his brother, because he wants to stay in one piece for SummerSlam, before calling Taker a coward. And Paul continues that Austin is in the wrong place at the wrong time, with Kane and Foley finishing what they started on Raw, since Undertaker won't be there to help Stone Cold this time. The New Age Outlaws then interrupt, with Road Dogg comparing everyone in the ring to the Addams family, followed by telling the champs that they're so confident they would offer the Outlaws a rematch on Raw the next night, before just attacking, bringing out officials to stop the brawl. We see Slaughter pull Gunn off the Big Red Machine, but Badass fights through the crowd to brawl once more, this time with Mankind, only for Sarge to drag Foley away. And then JR and King discuss our next match, followed by showing footage from last week's Raw, where Animal arrived for a match alone, so the DOA took advantage, trying to run the Road Warrior over with their bikes, when Hawk would show up to stop it, only to be attacked as well. So we go to our 5th match, the Disciples of Apocalypse, a Skull and 8-Ball.
The only 2 left.
With Paul Ellering versus Legion of Doom 2000 of Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal. The only ones left of them, too.
Yeah, they lost their manager. But they're the only, you know.
Are they done with...
I think Draws isn't
There we go.
doing
Mike,
anything.
what's the name? Puke. Draws.
I already forgot that he... yeah.
Was the thing.
Yeah.
So Skull and Animal argue with each other to begin when the Disciple attacks, taking the Road Warrior to his corner for 8-Ball to help with double teams. DOA misses a pair of back elbows, followed by Animal nailing a double clothesline and tagging out, with Hawk flying in with a clothesline as well, throwing Skull to the floor to brawl at the railing momentarily.
I believe Jerry Lawler asks, which member of DOA is tagged in? And Jim Ross says, it doesn't matter. It's like, if it's Jim Ross saying it doesn't matter, then it's true. Because he's not the color commentator.
It doesn't matter, and it's all going to get blurry anyway, so it literally does not matter.
Back in the ring, LOD with a drop kick, a heart attack, falling fist, neck breaker, and a double back elbow for a near fall. When Skull avoids its corner charge, causing Hawk to crash into the post to the floor. 8-Ball and Ellering take advantage, pummeling the Road Warrior before tossing him back in for a running straddle from Skull. An Animal tries to confront the Disciples, only for the ref to force him back to his corner, allowing more attacks on the floor and apron.
LOD.
DOA controlled the action with strikes, chin-lots, chokes, and a backbreaker for a 2 count, until Hawk frees himself to clothesline both men, making the crawl for the hot tag. Animal cleans house with a shoulder tackle to 8-Ball, back suplex to Skull, followed by a clothesline that knocks 8-Ball to the floor. And LOD both hit corner clotheslines to Skull before lifting him up to the shoulders to deliver a doomsday device for the pin. And no, 8-Ball's back in to break it up.
I called it the devastation device, and I got a chill down my spine. Ew.
It's the second time JR has messed up the name of their finisher.
I wasn't sure if they just didn't call it, they just gave it a different name in WWF, but maybe not. Maybe that's not the case.
I'm trying to remember if it was called something different in the WCW.
It's always been the doomsday device for me.
Okay.
JCP, WCW.
8-Ball's tossed to the floor once more when Ellering would jump on the apron to distract Animal. While the ref is getting Hawk back to his corner, it allows the Disciples to exchange places, with 8-Ball nailing a DDT for the pin and the win.
So sad to see LOD lose to a team that even the announcers can't tell. I mean, I know that's the gimmick, but they don't know which guy's which.
Nope. I don't think they
can. I believe that to be true. Mostly because I don't care either.
I know one of them's name is Don. Ron, the other one?
Yep.
Okay.
Don
right.
Ron Harris.
I'm halfway there.
So there you go. You guys.
I got 50% of getting it wrong.
Guys got some names now for what's in a name. Fun part of being.
I never would have known that one.
Figuring out which one's Skull. So we get Vince McMahon and his stooges walking out to the ring, and the Hawk has a few words for Vince as they pass. But once they make the ring, Mr. McMahon takes the mic, saying he is as upset as the fans about the Undertaker. So if he doesn't show up, don't blame Vince. Austin did almost decapitate him with a chair on Raw, followed by rude gestures. So if the dead man no-shows, it's Stone Cold's fault. And everyone believes this, right?
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah. The fans don't just boo him like crazy.
And McMahon reminds the fans that all cards are subject to change.
I mean, this is great shit. I love this.
Even reading from a program where it states the promoter reserves the right to make suitable substitutions before saying he does have a replacement for Taker. The Brooklyn Brawler.
I mean,
Brawler.
I loved this. It's just Vince is firing on all cylinders as he has been lately.
Brawler comes out there just looking as ageless as ever. It's like it's WrestleMania 5 all over again.
We haven't seen the Brawler since SummerSlam 92.
Jesus.
When he was Kim Chi.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 74. And I think the last time we did see Brawler as Brawler was WrestleMania 5.
Hey, good guess.
I mean, you nailed it.
And he comes down to the ring and he hugs the Stooges and Vince. Before we cut back to Ross, who talks about the significance of the Hart family dungeon, where Stu Hart trained many men and contorted WWF superstars.
Kinky.
So we go to our sixth match. Owen Hart versus Ken Shamrock in a dungeon match with Dan Severn as the special guest referee.
And we are remote, legitimately in a basement of Owen Hart's family childhood home.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So this match can only end by submission. And we see Hart and the Beast waiting in a wood-paneled room. When the door opens and Ken's standing there, psyching himself up.
To the top of the stairs where, like, in any other house in North America, this is just the room where kids get drunk on the weekend.
Yeah.
But here it's where, Stu Hart makes you
Stretch
cry.
people up.
Yeah.
Once he enters the room, Severn tells them to fight. And they circle each other at first. When Owen scores a double leg takedown, but Shamrock turns it over into a cross arm breaker and a leg lock. Now back to their feet, Ken kicks Hart into a wall, followed by a judo toss, before more shoves against the wood, until Owen delivers a low blow and a wheel kick. And Hart jumps on his opponent for mounted punches, slamming Shamrock's head into a wall and a German suplex.
I mean, this is a tight space to be throwing people around.
Mm-hmm.
Shamrock responds by throwing Owen into the wall some more. When Owen jumps to grab a pipe for a swinging kick and a hurricane.
Attaboy, Owen.
Traded strikes before Ken throws Hart into a weight rack, only for Owen to grab a dumbbell to use. But Shamrock blocks and tosses his opponent into the wall once more. Shamrock then hangs off the pipe to attempt a triangle choke, only for Hart to block and drop Ken with a powerbomb. Owen takes control with tosses into the wood and into the pipe, followed by lifting him hard into the ceiling, which leaves a dent, before locking on the sharpshooter. But Shamrock powers out and attempts an ankle lock, which Hart blocks. Ken with several kicks, including one that Owen ducks, so it hits Severn instead. So Hart takes advantage, grabbing a dumbbell to clock Shamrock with, followed by locking in a crossface. And as Dan begins to stir, Hart grabs Ken's hand and begins tapping, leading to Severn calling Owen the winner.
I mean, when he lifts Ken's head, it's the cherry on top. Man, yeah. This on paper should not have worked at all, but they were really laying into each other, and it looked almost like a real fight.
I agree.
I thought it was a blast. It should have sucked. And it was real fun, and they didn't, overdo it, but they still had, big spots, and it didn't take up too much time. It was, the perfect amount of time. You can't have this thing go for, 12 minutes. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Post-match, Hart walks out of the dungeon celebrating, saying he did it all by himself.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he kind of did.
He didn't get any help from that dumbbell.
No.
Not at all.
No, he got that dumbbell by himself.
So we're going to our seventh match. Triple H with DX of Chyna, X-Pac, Road Dogg Jesse James, and Badass Billy Gunn versus The Rock with the Nation of D'Lo Brown and the Godfather in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
Was Mark Henry winded?
Probably.
Yeah. We're a little outnumbered here, 5-3.
I think he might show up in this match, though.
I guess Owen's technically a nation member, a nation member, but yeah, he was just in the dungeon, so
he's a few miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know,
since he's in Canada.
Yeah.
Kilometers.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way they didn't shoot that ahead of time, but they're probably you can stay home.
They did film that a couple days earlier.
Yeah.
So Fink says there is a 30-minute time limit, and there will be 1-minute rest periods between falls. While Sarge comes out to make everyone but Chyna leave to the back, since she has a manager's license.
Checks out.
Which pisses off Rocky. And the match gets going with the two trading strikes, turnbuckle smashes, and clotheslines, when Chyna gets involved from the floor with a right hand. Hunter catches The Rock telegraphing a move and sets up for the pedigree. But Rocky counters with a backbone drop, only to then charge in and get tossed over the ropes to the floor.
Rocky sucks.
And they begin brawling in the aisle, running each other into the railing and ring steps. When they return to the ring, Triple H nails a swinging neckbreaker, a snap suplex, and a knee drop for a 2 count. The Rock answers back with chops and a hard whip of Hunter to a corner for a flare flip to the outside, with Rocky following out to deliver a suplex on the floor and ramming him into the steel steps. The Rock follows with a body slam before rolling back in to distract the ref, allowing Mark Henry to come running down with a splash onto Triple H.
There he is.
It was a big old thud.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Gunn then runs down to attack Henry from behind, with officials coming out to send them to the back once again. Meanwhile, Rocky has grabbed the belt to clock Hunter with, making the cover for the pin. And no, Triple H kicks out. The Rock with more strikes, a swinging neckbreaker, and chin locks to wear his opponent down, only for Hunter to rally to get back to his feet to trade strikes. And the fight's taken back to the floor momentarily, where Rocky chokes with some TV cables, before returning to the ring, where The Rock delivers a sloppy float over DDT for a near fall.
It was up.
Back to a chin lock to continue to wear down Triple H, with the crowd cheering him on to escape with elbows and right hands. But a telegraphed move follows Rocky to hit a facebuster for a 2 count. And Hunter retaliates with a running high knee, only to then get caught charging in for a hot shot across the top rope. When the Godfather makes his way back to ringside, but the Outlaws run out to chase the Nation member backstage. And The Rock keeps up the attack with clotheslines when he starts arguing with the ref. And you can tell that he's obviously waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
Even yelling, "Damn it!" as D-Lo takes forever to get to the top rope with his European title, allowing Triple H to hit the ropes and causing Brown to crotch himself. Hunter then picks up the belt and smashes D-Lo over the head to knock him down to the floor, but then turns right into Rocky to nail a rock bottom for the pin. And The Rock leads 1-0 as we go into a 1-minute rest period. And when it ends, Rocky tosses Triple H out to the floor to stop away, ram his head into the ring steps, and run into the railing, only for Hunter to respond right back with a clothesline. Triple H goes for a pedigree, but The Rock counters it into a catapult of Hunter into the Spanish announce table.
Oh my gosh.
Before heading back inside to deliver a people's elbow.
What?
Hey, they finally said it.
It's the first time.
You guys, I love there's a little girl like in the front row that's just like freaking out on The Rock as he when he's rolling Hunter back in after the catapult.
Yeah.
It was very cute and funny.
Triple H is whipped to the ropes and he ducks a back elbow, returning with a clothesline that lays out both men, while D-Lo has recovered and climbed to the apron. So Chyna grabs him from behind, throwing Brown into the guardrail. And the ref comes outside to break up the fight, allowing X-Pac to come out of the crowd to nail an X-Factor on Rocky, with Hunter crawling over to make the cover for the pin. And no, Rock kicks out. Triple H rolls out to grab a chair while the ref is still distracted by Chyna, only for Rocky to kick it away, grabbing the steel and swinging away. But Hunter ducks, causing Mike Chioda to take the blow.
Roof boom.
There it is.
Rock clotheslines Triple H down and grabs the chair again, looking to do damage, when Chyna would jump into the ring to hit the people's nuts, followed by a DDT onto the steel. Hunter then covers Rocky while the ref recovers enough to make the count for the pin.
Triple H, most over he's been. The fans are counting with the ref on this pin attempt in a big way, not just because it's crowd participation.
So we're all tied up at 1 as we go into another 1-minute rest period. But the bell rings for them to start back up, and Rock is still laid out. So Triple H goes to make a cover, only for there to be no ref.
Son of a bitch.
He's got that visual pin, but somebody's coming for us.
All of a sudden, Earl Hebner runs down to make the count for a near fall, before the Fink also lets everyone know that there's 2 minutes remaining. And Hunter tosses Rocky out to the floor, where he keeps up the attack by running the champ into a railing in the apron before delivering a clothesline. They head back inside, where a whip's reversed, with the Rock telegraphing the backdrop. So Triple H turns it into a face crusher, as we have 1 minute left. Hunter with a clothesline for a 2 count, but then charges into his opponent, who lifts him for a Samoan drop that gets a near fall.
I mean, great desperation Samoan drop spot. Like, intelligent. It's not the cleanest looking, but it was an exciting and not expected spot.
Turnbuckle smashes and strikes are exchanged when Rocky catches a charging Triple H, goes for the rock bottom, only for Hunter to block and nail a pedigree for the pin and no time limit draw.
You motherfuckers.
People don't like it.
Nope.
I thought that I would be fine with it, but the way it was handled was kind of bizarre. They didn't really get, like, the bell. The ref just was like didn't count and was just like telling Hunter it was over.
Yeah.
It's like we need like a little bit more of a we need punctuation on this. Yeah.
Maybe you're a little winded there from your run down to the ring there, Earl, but yeah, there at least need to be an attempt.
Yeah, it's just that one little thing. Outside of that,
Or point to the timekeeper and tell them it's time. Yeah, something. But then again, Earl maybe doesn't want to do that because he's already being the...
He's got some PTSD
Yes.
from the screw job, is what you're saying?
Post-match, the Nation comes back out to jump Triple H. So DX also comes out to clean house and helping their leader to his feet, while Rocky raises the belt to taunt Hunter. We then go backstage to Kevin Kelly, and he reports that the Undertaker has arrived, even showing us footage from just moments ago. With Dr. Tom saying he told everyone he would show up, before Kelly wonders if the dead man will even have time to talk strategy with Austin. And I was like, dang, I was really hoping for that Brooklyn Brawl match.
One day.
Hey, I mean, he got paid more tonight than he would have any other night, probably.
He got paid, yeah.
Yeah.
We then see The Rock and D'Lo leaving the arena in exclusive footage where he says that Chyna's interference didn't matter because Rocky planted Triple H with a rock bottom and he's still the best damn Intercontinental Champion. Followed by if Hunter wants a rematch, he'll smell what The Rock is cooking. We then go back to our commentators to send it to a video package for our next match.
I wasn't sure. I didn't number it, but it's a event.
Yeah.
I guess.
So Sable and Jackie are calling each other skank and tramp, with Sable implying that Mero has performance issues. And Jackie compares her body to Sable's before challenging her to a bikini contest, in which Sable promises an outfit to rival her Slammy's attire, which we also see at one point. It was just like a nice black dress, but it was
Okay.
More insults between the two led to catfights, with Jackie ripping Sable's dress off, so she threatened to drop a bomb on Jacqueline. Mm-mm. We then get the tell of the tape by Luca on WWF.com. I was like, Luca, dude, like, this was a tough job for you. Because we learn all of their measurements, except for the weight, because it's none of your damn business.
Yeah, there was, I like this one, 34, it was bombs instead of boob size.
Yeah.
But 34 double D, parentheses, double delights for Jacqueline. Sable's says 38 specials.
Yep.
And then for butt, it was round and sexy for Jacqueline, and Sable's was firm and tight. Everything else was just, they just picked like one number difference between it. It's for like waist size and blah, blah, blah. Height was probably more true to life.
Yeah. So Lawler enters the ring to host the following contests, but he isn't alone, as Dustin Runnels has the mic to pray for these hopeless, lost souls, asking God to shun Satan away and close the eyes of the viewers. He finishes up by reminding everyone the Messiah is coming soon, so they should get ready.
No one cares.
Hallelujah.
Trying to remember who the Messiah ends up being, or if there ends up being anything.
My guess is that they just abandoned this, but I don't know.
It's Edge.
I actually don't have any clue where this is leading either. I assume that he gets fired and ends up as 7.
Yep.
Before
And then
there's a conclusion.
Yeah.
And then gets, I think, fired from that too.
So we go to our 8th match.
Yeah.
Jacqueline with Marvelous Marc Mero versus Sable in a bikini contest.
Prime Russo.
So once Jackie's in the ring, the King asks her to disrobe, only for Sable to interrupt and make her way to the ring. But the Lawler does say the challenger should go first. So Jacqueline removes her robe to reveal a red thong bikini covering very little and even popping out of her top at one point.
Yeah, this is, it made me think of Zardoz. You know, you ever see that photo? It's like a science fiction movie with Sean Connery.
Okay.
I mean, it's obviously not the same thing, but that's what it reminded me of, her crazy string bikini thing.
And the fans boo Jackie.
Crazy.
Y'all are crazy because Jackie is very attractive.
They both have insane bodies and bulbous fake breasts. Crazy.
Sable's next, and she removes her shirt, with the King saying that's not the outfit she was wearing earlier. That it's much more conservative, that covers almost everything. She basically just had a knitted top.
Yeah, it's kind of like a knitted, like almost tube top-ish thing.
Yeah.
I love that JR, of all people, tells us to set our VCRs. I'm like, isn't that technically illegal? Isn't that what they tell you not to do at the beginning of sporting pay-per-views?
And Sable explains that Mr. McMahon had pulled her into the office and told her to do so. Since she owes him her job, she should listen. But she has her own ideas, and it's live TV. So she removes her top to unveil hand-shaped pasties over her nipples and nothing else.
I mean, everybody remembers this because this is maybe the most iconic thing Sable ever did.
Probably.
Until Playboy.
Yeah. And Lawler loses his mind while Mero attempts to cover Sable, only to be slapped, followed by Marc yelling that this is cheating. It isn't even a bikini.
And the camera flashes are going bananas.
Yeah.
The King asks the fans if Sable should cover herself. And of course they scream back no.
As we get a titty zoom.
Cheer her on as the winner.
High five.
Until Vince himself comes down to the ring and places a coat over Sable and escorts her out of the ring.
I mean, like I said, he's just maybe the best heel of all time.
Mero continues to complain that it was no bikini and declares Jackie the winner, which WWF officials would also rule it a disqualification win for Jacqueline.
This isn't
as Sable had violated McMahon's instructions.
I mean, but it's one of those things like that. This isn't it's a bikini contest. Like, what is it going to go on their like fight record? Like,
I guess so.
Jesus.
Sable's a loser because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Post-match, we get some exclusive footage of Jackie storming into Sable's locker room, where they scream at each other until officials arrive.
Get that bitch out of here!
With Slaughter asking Jacqueline to leave. Says Sable yells at her. JR then sends it to a video package about our main event, where we see Austin losing the title at King of the Ring because of the Undertaker, only to regain it the next night and hitting the dead man with a stunner. And narration says the attack uncaged the Phenom, with no one in the WWF able to contain his rage, which we see Taker attacking various wrestlers at this point. So Vince calls him evil and diabolical.
I love Sweatpants Taker.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
I kind of forgot about the Sweatpant Taker era just because he was always so...
Late to the ring.
Well, just Mr. Company Man, always in uniform. You know, he went the Foley route.
Yeah, he only does the sweatpants when it's like not a match, but it's like, he's like, I'm not putting all that shit on if I'm just going to go out there and clothesline people.
The Undertaker claimed everyone would know him as the Lord of Darkness, and he's coming for Stone Cold and the title. But Mr. McMahon had an offer. They could team to face Kane and Mankind. Narration chimes in that the road to destiny is full of questions. Where does Taker's royalty lie?
Another question.
As we see footage of the dead man dressed up as Kane to take out Foley. Which was a match. It was a number one contenders match. It was a three-way match. It was Kane versus Undertaker versus Mankind. And only Kane and Mankind came out. Like, Undertaker never came out. And everyone's like, what's going on? And Mankind's like, oh, well, me and Kane were partners. We won't attack each other. And then all of a sudden, Kane chokeslams and tombstones Mankind.
And then pulls the mask off.
To get the win. Pulls the mask off, and it's Undertaker.
I mean, it's a fun...
It was a fun little thing.
I mean, I've seen the clip of him taking the Kane mask off a million times, but I didn't know the complete story behind it. And that's a pretty fun one.
So Undertaker's the number one contender for Austin's belt. They'll face off at SummerSlam. Undertaker then told everyone who asked to go to hell. When Austin would ask, is it going to be you and me against two opponents? Or is it going to be Stone Cold versus three? And on a Raw, Austin would attack the tag champs, when Taker would make his way down with a chair, where he would hit Kane with the steel. But was it meant for Stone Cold? We then go to our ninth match. Kane and Mankind with Paul Bearer versus Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Tag Team Championships.
In a questions will be answered match. I just made that up.
With more questions.
Just a joke.
And the champs came out first. Foreshadowing.
I mean, how are you going to have Stone Cold Steve Austin come out first?
And the dead man confronts Stone Cold in the aisleway when they enter, which allows the champs to jump them from behind, leading to everyone brawling around ringside, with Kane being sent into the ring steps by Austin. Taker rolls Foley in to continue the fight when Stone Cold would flip off Undertaker and start exchanging strikes, turnbuckle smashes, clotheslines, and a snap suplex with Mankind. And Austin has his eyes poked before the Big Red Machine is tagged in to deliver right hands, until Stone Cold ducks a clothesline and nails a Thez press, mounted punches, and an elbow drop.
And of course, the entire time the crowd is just chanting Austin. If you haven't seen a Stone Cold match in 1998.
Sorry. Austin goes for a stunner, but Kane shoves him away and bails to the floor to regroup, only for Stone Cold to follow out to brawl in the aisleway, where Foley tries to get involved, but just gets dropped with a double noggin knocker. Now back in the ring, Undertaker's tagged in, and he hits shoulder blocks and a side Russian leg sweep on his brother, before flipping off Austin, who actually seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, the way he laughs it off was pretty charming.
But it does allow the Big Red Machine to tag in Mankind. Dead man with strikes, turnbuckle smashes, corner splashes, and old school. Until a blind tag allows Kane to grab his brother by the throat for a choke slam. And the champs take control of frequent tags and hard strikes, Foley with a running knee, double arm DDT, and a cactus clothesline, sending Taker to the floor, where the Big Red Machine gets a big right hand in as well. Mankind goes for the cactus elbow, only for Stone Cold to shove him off the apron onto the Spanish announce table to prevent it, followed by a back body drop by the Undertaker. But Kane clotheslines and runs his brother into the steel steps to regain control. Now back inside, Foley telegraphs a move, so the dead man nails a jumping DDT, allowing him to make his way towards his corner, when the Big Red Machine would shove him from behind, but right into the hot tag. Austin cleans house with right hand, stomps, and running straddle on Kane, while Taker rejoins the fray to clothesline Mankind to the floor, where they brawl. And a chair's thrown into the ring, with Stone Cold grabbing it and clocking the Big Red Machine.
Oof.
He makes the cover for a 2 count, as the ref was distracted by the fight outside. Austin then runs into a big boot, followed by being thrown to the floor, where Foley rams him into the railing before Kane drops him on the steel. They make their way back inside, where the champs continue the punishment with more strikes, clotheslines, and double teams, followed by a Big Red Machine leg drop. And Stone Cold's picked up for the tombstone, but he wiggles free and nails a stunner, only for Mankind to run in to lock in the mandible claw, which Austin escapes by hitting another stunner, allowing him to crawl to his corner, where Undertaker hesitates at first.
He's not reaching out.
JR thinks the dead man is showing his true colors, when Taker would reach out his hand for the hot tag.
Here we go.
Undertaker cleans house with low blows, strikes, and choke slams to everybody, before delivering a tombstone to Kane for the pin and the win, while Stone Cold clotheslines Foley to prevent him from breaking it up.
Teamwork.
And new! Post-match, the dead man collects both belts and leaves the ring. So Austin starts yelling at him, demanding Taker to return, only for him to be ignored and walk to the back, as Ross says his goodbyes, and we fade to black. So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Fully Loaded in your house?
It suffers from the long in your house vibes, where they're just like, all right, now all the pay-per-views are the same length, so we're going to throw some stuff on there that isn't necessarily pay-per-view quality or have the excitement for. It's like, oh, well, we'll do some kind of build, but they can't all be winners. But the show isn't trash. The last 2 matches are good, real good. Owen and Shamrock should have not worked at all, but it did. And then D'Lo and X-Pac, Val Venis and Jeff both looked great in the ring. They both have good chemistry and worked well. But people will only remember Sable's titties.
Yep, not Jacqueline's though.
I mean, they were...
Those are the ones that are in my mind.
Well, they both looked pretty great, but the Sable, that's the handprint, man. Like I said, it's the most iconic thing that comes out of this show. But I don't think that there's some good matches.
This one, it's not my favorite.
That would be crazy if it was.
It's not my least favorite, but
No.
It just, as you had mentioned, it suffers from the in your house long phase. And it just kind of lingers. It doesn't really go a whole lot of places. And then, yeah, once Sable shows off her titties, then everybody just kind of gets distracted all around. And all of a sudden, we fade to black. I didn't hate it, but I wouldn't recommend going out of my way a second time to watch it again.
No, the takeaway here is the growth of Triple H and The Rock, and then the insanity that is those Kane, Undertaker, those 4 guys in a match together. Like, that's the...
Can they coexist?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Undertaker nailed the, like, reluctant tag.
Question.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I just have more questions.
I mean, they did say
that's the whole point.
The answers could provide more questions.
That's the whole point.
It's not just WCW that can put on a pay-per-view that feels like it should belong on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And this one showed that.
Yeah, this felt like
a
Raw.
A Raw.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yep.
I mean, literally, other than the dungeon match, which I don't know if they would have ever done on TV, and the bikini contest.
Yeah.
Literally everything on the show could have been on a Raw.
Yep.
And it would have made for a good Raw. Like, they even have, like, a bunch of, like, even the promo stuff is all very much in the vein of what Raw is now. Vince comes out a few times and makes everybody hate him more, and everybody gets excited to boo him. And, yeah. It's like all the character work for the characters that matter is good, but it feels a little raw.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show? I'm going to start with the opening promo package. Yeah. There were so many questions.
It sure was.
But it was really good.
It was almost, it got to the point where it was like comical. It felt like a trailer for like a Naked Gun movie or something, where they just like keep like, they're asking questions, but they keep asking questions, and the joke is that it goes on too long.
Yeah.
But
who did this?
all the questions were
what
real.
happened this? Tune in next week for blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Rolling from the top here.
I thought
Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Looked really good.
I thought that X-Pac and D-Lo had really great chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
They looked good together.
D-Lo's still growing.
But he's starting to feel himself.
But he's starting to feel himself. Agreed. Because they probably went to one too many chin locks in that match.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just spot calling.
Yeah. I mean, Owen and Shamrock is my match of the night.
Because it shouldn't work, and it did.
It shouldn't work, and it did.
And they were laying in to each other, like...
Yeah.
Triple H finally getting that little
I mean,
face love.
Brooklyn Brawler showing up.
Yeah.
It was funny. Like, this show has moments all throughout. And
yeah, there's good moments. It's just nothing exceeds more than... It's good.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing spectacular or... Literally, the bikini contest is really the only thing that... If you were to tell someone about the show, that, like, you'd be like, if you want to see some boobs.
Yeah. I think it's what they call a maintenance show. It's like, we're just going to maintain all the things that are, like, important right now.
I mean,
and,
we basically... they already
keep people on the hook.
They already had the title match for SummerSlam, which is our next WWF show.
Yeah.
They already had it set. So they're just kind of...
They're just keeping interest.
Twirling plates a little bit, so...
Maintaining interest.
Sable finding her voice when she yells, it's becoming enjoyable, as opposed to before when she would just like cry at Mankind because he got too close to her. She's learning that when she wants to be a bitch, she can be a bitch, and she's gonna pretty soon show everybody just how much of a bitch she can be. But she's at least finding that voice when she's yelling at people.
How about most disappointing?
Vader getting done like that. LOD getting done like that.
Yamaguchi-san should stay off the mic.
Good point, but I'm still more sad about Vader.
Yamaguchi-san's wife should stay off the Venus.
I mean, hey, they're both perfectly attractive people.
The trash talk between Sable and Jacqueline
was bad.
It's horrible.
It's bad. As many flowers as we gave D'Lo for his match, we also need to take a few of those away for being late to the ring.
Yeah.
Because that little...
Where were you at?
30
Godfather?
seconds was just like...
something
needs to happen.
Yeah. Where was the Godfather at telling him, I've been here before, you need to get your ass out there now?
Yeah, he took his cue a little too late.
It actually felt like Mark Henry was a little late getting to the ring, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But Mark Henry has an excuse. He weighs like 400 pounds.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. One of the good things I forgot about this. The Tell the Tape by Luca. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I mean, we're not really talking about the main event. Like, there's nothing wrong with the main event. There's nothing like
Yeah, there's nothing.
I mean,
There
there was
really stands out about it.
Yeah,
either.
like the Mick Foley Spanish announce table bump was pretty stiff, but
You got
it's Mick
Undertaker
Foley. We're
that
used to
stands
him.
there and just does nothing for the first part of it, and then
I mean, I guess the best part was probably when Undertaker flipped off Austin and he kind of laughed about it. I mean, that's the thing that kind of sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, it was like the Austin looked to have a like genuine response that was like funny and charming. But it's like it was well like put together as far as a tag match and like the story that's being told. Like there was no like crazy like mistakes or anything. They just were maintaining all of the tension. So they did exactly what they set out to do. It's just not super memorable.
So I mean, in a way, I guess you could say it's a little bit disappointing that it is just kind of like there.
Yeah,
But
also
when it's those four guys,
it's also these four guys. None of them can get hurt right now before SummerSlam. So like, they're not going to go out there and put on something that is so crazy that like we can't outdo ourselves at SummerSlam. Just keep everybody on the hook. Keep all the fishes on the hook.
how about best performer of the night? Owen for me. I mean, I said it was my favorite match of the show. But I think it's just because it's like a unique thing. It's the one thing on this show, me personally, that I would tell someone. Like, obviously, the bikini contest, what most people would...
Yeah. No, because this is the thing, like I said, it shouldn't have worked, and it did, and I was legitimately into it because they were hitting each other hard enough that they were riding that shoot line enough for... It's like, yeah, those guys didn't feel great the next day.
Definitely not.
yeah, I'll give it to Owen. Or again with Bradshaw's acting.
He gets most improved of the evening.
And how about most surprising? It's not Funk retiring.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Sure isn't. I guess it would be that they're just like, I don't know. It's not super surprising that LOD or Vader lost. It's just more disappointing than anything. I wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. It was more like, damn, that sucks. I wish that didn't happen. So I can't.
that. Flash
call it
Funk
surprising.
became Too Cold Scorpio again, just so Terry Funk could leave.
I guess it was that Flash came out as Scorpio would probably be the most surprising thing because I just kind of forgot he was hanging out over here.
Give me some Ron already.
He's always Faarooq. I guess a surprising thing is Jackie popped out of her.
Oh yeah,
And they've made sure to
point it out,
to
blur it.
blur that part
Yeah.
out on the old network.
Making their way to the ring,
It's trivia time.
Uh-oh.
This week the category is TikTok.
tick-tock on the clock, but the party don't stop now.
So you're gonna get 5 points for whoever is closer with the time of the match.
I love this one.
So the show is Gangsta's Paradise.
Fuck.
And the match is Jason Knight and the Eliminators, Perry Saturn and John Cronus, versus Taz and the Steiner brothers of Rick and Scott Steiner. How long was that match?
Shit.
I always go with my first instinct, so I'm good when you are, buddy.
Let's do... Okay.
Michael, how long was this match?
12 minutes and 15 seconds.
Shane?
8:23.
Michael with the 5 points.
Shane, I know I would have done 8 minutes if it was 2 versus 2, but I was like, they got a third guy in there. We're gonna get a couple more minutes out of it, but that's the only reason I went above like 10 minutes.
This match went 20 minutes on the dot.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
my God,
Yeah, I wouldn't have come close either way.
I wasn't close at all.
You bring the Steiners in, you're getting your money's worth. Next week, G1 Climax 1998.
Oh, gee. Going to Japan, eh?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
See some hard-hitting
Yeah.
fights.
Some of our favorite shit that ever happens on this show happens typically from these two Japanese tournaments.
Yep.
Super Juniors and G1 Climax, which is our heavyweights. So, we're going to see some meat slapping next week as opposed to the aerial attacks.
Yep. Music from this week's show is Undertow by Kevin Pays, and Undertaker had a new theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Little rock guitar to it.
I didn't even notice.
Dark Side version 1 by Jim Johnston.
All right.
And if you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Jacqueline showed her titty on television. Do it for her. She probably didn't get paid extra for that.
Sable had high fives on both of her titties. So again,
she probably got paid extra
give us
for that.
5.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns.
Oh, what'd you think of the show? Give us a shout out. We wanna hear from you. We're going to Japan. We can figure out what to get for Japan. Just tell us what you thought. Who was your favorite? What was your favorite moment? What did you like the least?
Did you order this pay-per-view or beg your mom to order this pay-per-view and then your mom saw the bikini contest and never let you watch Raw again? Tell us the story.
All of that. Slide into our DMs.
If you have any of those things, you can email us at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's WrestlingHistoX. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.